my GC co-creators, LILOU here. I'm with Jeff today. Hello, Jeff.
Hello. Hello.
We were just wondering where we were because both of us travel so much. I started doing the intro and I was like, where are we, Jeff?
I have no idea where. I don't think it matters where we are, but we're here. We're here. We know that. We know that. We're here.
Jeff is British, but you're here visiting and doing some workshops in Holland. We're in the Netherlands, actually, pretty much in the center of the Netherlands, not far from Doorn, not far from Utrecht, in that area. Beautiful area. We found the forest, and this is where we decided to have this conversation. Thank you.
Thank you. I think it's the perfect place for this conversation.
Yes. I'm very intrigued by your story, and I've seen some of your YouTubes, and I love your tone and your presence and your freshness, your fresh blood. So, no, but I love having conversations with people of our generation too, because often I interview people in their 80s, but there is so much freshness in what we bring too. I feel on this world, and I mean, I love even interviewing kids because I think they have even more this purity. And anyway. So I'm grateful for this conversation. You studied at Cambridge University astrophysics, but then you became, from my understanding, went through a period of illness, and then you were looking for spiritual enlightenment, and then you found out about non-duality. So I would love to speak about that transitions and what happened between your studies and the non-duality, so that you came here to this place and now teach people all around the world. You wrote many books. They've been translated. I mean, it's awesome.
Yeah, it's. I mean, it's a mystery how I ended up here. Actually, I was such a like a painfully shy child and teenager. I mean, I don't think I spoke to anyone until I was like 20. I mean, I was so mixed up and miserable, and it just got worse and worse. You know, there's just the self-consciousness and the shyness and the self-hatred, and I was so lonely, and it just got worse and worse until. In like my early 20s, I had this breakdown, and that's when I started looking for enlightenment, because back then I saw enlightenment as this future thing that would happen to me, and it would solve all my problems. And so for a couple of years, I was desperately trying to become enlightened, because I thought that would end all my pain and my sadness and my fear. I used to think of enlightenment as like some future thing that would happen that would end my pain.
What kind of books were you reading then? What kind of teachings were you looking at?
Well, I just devoured everything. I mean, I read everything. I mean, Krishnamurti, Osho, Eckhart Tolle. I read all sorts.
I thought immediately of Eckhart Tolle with The Power of Now.
Yeah, I read all sorts of Buddhism, Christianity, Judaism. I mean, I was just obsessed, because I locked myself away in my room for like a year. I was obsessed with finding enlightenment. It was, to me, it was like get enlightened or die. I mean, it was that obsessive. So I read everything. I did every practice, yoga, meditation, like what will get me there? Like what will get me there? Wherever I thought there was, Yeah. And I had all sorts of spiritual experiences, all states of bliss, states of this, states of all sorts of states came and went, but then they would come and they would go. So states of bliss would come, and then you think, right, I've got it now, but the bliss would pass, and then you want the next bliss. You want to get back to the bliss that you had, or great peace would arise, or great joy would arise, and you think, I've got it now, but then it would pass. Like anything I tried to hold on to, it would pass. So then this is why I really say to people, I failed to awaken. Like my search for something other than what's actually here failed. I just became exhausted from seeking. I think I just became exhausted from like always looking for something, not quite knowing what I was looking for, but just knowing I had to find it.
And then how did you come across non-duality, and how do you define it?
Well, actually, it all started with an experience I had. It was a few years ago. I was so exhausted from all this seeking, all this trying to find something, and all, I just remember one day I was just lying on my bed at home because I was living with my parents at the time. I'd gone back to live with them. I had left London and gone back to live with them, and I was just lying on the bed, just exhausted, fed up with the whole seeking thing. You know, I'm never going to become enlightened. I'm never going to just completely just given up. And I just remember looking over a chair, like, and it was the most ordinary chair. You know, it was just a chair, and just suddenly there was just this recognition that, oh my God, it's whatever I've been looking for. It's here, but it's disguised as this ordinary life. It's disguised as a chair, like this oneness, this wholeness, this whatever I've been looking for. I realized that had always been my idea, my concept of wholeness, my idea of oneness.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, whatever oneness is, whatever wholeness is, it's actually, it's already appearing as this. That's why we don't see it,
Mm-hmm.
because it's already here. It just became as clear as anything. You know, and it was the chair, and it was the carpet, and it was the ceiling, and the doors and the windows, and it was this body. Like, it included this body, because I always thought oneness was about you had to escape the body and reach oneness or something, but this turned the whole thing on its head, and it was it's all here already.
Mm-hmm.
Now there was just this sense of like everything I've been seeking was already, like, it was already here. It's always been. There was just this sense of gratitude, just and humility, and I think that experience really, you can't even call it an experience, but whatever that was, that really changed things, because now I just knew on the deepest level that life wasn't about me. It wasn't about me. It wasn't about me trying to become something. It was about, you know, it's about the birds singing, and it's about breathing, and it's about this.
Enjoy.
Yeah, like life became infinitely more simple,
Mm-hmm.
and it just became about realizing that whatever is here is supposed to be here. It took away that basic sense that something was wrong with life, because which I've been living with that my whole life. Or this basic sense that something was wrong with me. Because I think so many people that live with that, you know, this basic sense something is wrong with me, or I'm not complete somehow, or something is missing, and this kind of, it turned the whole thing on its head, because actually, how can anything be missing? You know, from present experience, it's the sound of a bird singing, it's breathing, but it also includes all the stuff that your whole life you've been trying to escape. So it includes like discomfort and pain or fear. Like, none of these are, like, everything has its place. You know, we spend so much energy trying to escape
Mm-hmm.
all this stuff in ourselves that we label as negative or dark, or this shouldn't be here, that shouldn't be here. And actually, all of it should be here, because it's all just like a perfect expression of life. You know, so there can't be anything wrong with you. That's, like, I know that more clearly than I know anything, that there can't be anything wrong with anyone. But that's what we forget, of course. That's the thing. It's not that there's something wrong with us. We forget how perfect we are, and that's where all our suffering begins. You know, so it's not that we're imperfect and we have to become perfect. It turns the whole thing on its head. It's actually the perfection is there from the beginning.
Yeah.
And we forget that, and then we try to become perfect, and it becomes so exhausting, you know.
So for you, the suffering is more the pushing away. What is the wanting to get rid of it that makes us suffer?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's.
If we would just accept whatever is there, there's no suffering.
Yeah, that's suffering is just our attempt to escape this moment, and there's a problem there, because this moment it's already as it is. This is already happening. So these thoughts, these sensations, these feelings, whatever is appearing now, they're already here. So in the deepest sense, and this is what I talk about these days. I don't really talk about non-duality anymore, because I find that word confuses so many people. It sounds like, I mean, what's non? It sounds like some strange little cult or something. You know, non-duality. I prefer these days. I prefer to talk about it in kind of simpler language. You know, I talk about it in terms of in terms of acceptance. I call it the um, deepest acceptance of life. So whatever is appearing in present experience right now, these thoughts, these sensations, these whatever it is, on the deepest level, who you are has allowed it. That's why these thoughts are appearing. That's why these sensations are appearing. That's why these feelings are appearing. Because on the deepest level, who you are has allowed them in. So in a way, acceptance isn't something that you do. It's another word for who you are. Like who you are is this open space of acceptance that's always allowing in. It allows in these thoughts. It allows in these feelings. But here's the thing: it's unconditional acceptance. So it allows in every thought, the ones we call positive and the ones we call negative. It allows in all feelings, the ones we call positive and the ones we call negative. So it doesn't discriminate. So what you are can just holds all of it. It allows all of it.
Can we talk about neutrality, point zero, being in the space of all that is? And
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, in the end, you can't put words to it because all words come later, you know. And the moment you use words, the moment we use words are inherently dualistic. So that every word has an opposite. So when you're in the world of words and thoughts and language, you're already talking in opposites. Light and dark, right and wrong, up and down, left, right. You know, it goes on and on and on. But who you really are, it doesn't split. It's not split in that way. I talk about it in terms of the ocean. It's like who you are is like a vast ocean in which all waves are allowed. So the waves we call light and the waves we call dark, the waves we call positive and the waves we call negative. But the ocean itself, it doesn't know positive and negative. It just knows waves.
But when we have strong fear, I mean, it appears so real, so vivid, so it could be even immobilizing, or how do you just stop? You can't move, you can't, nearly your thinking is stopped. We feel so separated. So is there steps towards really feeling the present moment or accepting all there is? Is there some questions that we could ask ourselves in those moments?
Well, I think often what we try to do when intense fear appears, because the waves of life can be quite intense sometimes. Pain, the physical pain can be quite intense. Let's not pretend otherwise. I think often what we try to do, we try to accept. So fear appears, and we try to accept it, or we try to allow it, or we try to say yes to it, because that's what a lot of the spiritual teachings tell us to do. Is that you have to allow, you have to say yes. Or you have to be in the now. So we try to be in the now, or we try to be present, So there's a lot of trying going on, So often, especially when the waves are very intense, we try to allow the fear, for example, and what we find is that we can't. But that's beautiful, actually. There's actually like a deeper truth in that, So if what's appearing is non-acceptance of fear, then you see, from the perspective of who you are allows everything. It's unconditional. So it even allows, in this moment, non-acceptance. That's how, it's like unconditional love. I mean, that's what, it's another way of talking about who you really are, is unconditional love. It allows in everything. So, because what happens, if often we're trying to accept, and then if non-acceptance appears, we don't accept that. Or if resistance appears, if resistance to this present moment appears, we say that resistance shouldn't be there. So we start to resist resistance, and it becomes this vicious circle. So,
but the deep dark place I'm talking about. You went through depression. Some people even think of dying. Yeah. I think we're in those moments where there's so many things that come up that people might think of it, might think of giving up life. Yeah. So it feels to me like in that place there is a lot of maybe darkness, and we need that spark of light in there, and then light can take over, maybe. I don't know. I never found myself. I'm intrigued as to I know how thick it is, though, because I had those close to those panic attacks, not wanting to get rid of my life, but just how do you, what is, it's so dense. It's accepting this
It
denseness. It's
is. It
relaxing
is.
into
Well,
it.
it's noticing, and this is why I talk about it these days. It's not, in a way, acceptance isn't something that you do. You can try to accept, and then what you find is that you can't accept. But on this deeper level, who you are has already accepted it because it's appearing. If it's appearing in present experience, it's already been allowed in. That's huge. Even if what's appearing is darkness, or even if what's appearing is a sense of despair or a sense of frustration or a sense of not wanting to be here, whatever it is, however dark it appears, on a deeper level, who you are has allowed it. It's not a mistake.
How do you know that for sure?
Because if you find it in present experience, it's already here, even if it's a sense of despair. So which means that what you are hasn't blocked it out. What you are has allowed it, because it's here. If it's here, it's like, I talk about it in terms of like the ocean and the waves. Like you could say on the deepest level, an ocean, the ocean allows all of its waves. And it's not because the ocean decides to allow its waves, because the ocean is the waves. The ocean is the waves. So it's like what you are as, and instead of ocean, you can say consciousness or awareness or presence or whatever words, what you are allows all of its waves. Consciousness allows everything that appears in consciousness. It is allowed in consciousness because it is consciousness.
The good news too is that then I see if we encounter ourselves even resistance towards something, then it means that person is somewhat ready, even though how much resistance that person would be giving. There is the opposite that is there, right there, and we can tap in any situation into the not the opposite side, but its counterpart.
I mean, like, life is just this constant invitation, just to notice that, like, how vast you are and how unlimited. Like, God, what I am even allows this. What I am even allows this. Because it's like the mind is always trying to make everything into a problem. So it comes up with resistance. It says that shouldn't be there, or it comes up against sadness. That shouldn't be there. Or it comes up against whatever, a sense of discomfort. That shouldn't be. It's always pushing everything away. Yeah. And then it dreams of some future state where everything will be perfect, But from the perspective of who you really are, if it's appearing, it's not a mistake. If it's appearing, who you are has allowed it. Even if in this moment it's uncomfortable. It's like life is just showing you, look, you're much bigger, like you're much vaster than you ever thought. Look, you even hold this, like you can even hold this, like it's not just the happy positive stuff that you can hold. You can also hold what we call the negative, dark stuff. It's like you're not this limited separate self. You're just the space for life. All of life can appear in you. I mean that, and so, and it's not even because you allow it to. It's like, in a way, I don't have the power to allow life. Like, who am I to allow life? Like, it's already allowed. This is it's like a much deeper level. If it's appearing in you in a way that you'll never understand, what you are has already allowed it. That's why this moment is exactly as it is, because it's already been allowed to be this way. So that really turns the whole thing on its head, It's like this acceptance, this allowing has already happened. And it's like who you are has already said yes to this moment. However this moment appears, even if this moment contains sadness or fear. And kind of knowing that on the deepest level, that really, that really changes things. That brings a real sense of rest and ease and peace into your life, because now you know on the deepest level that nothing appears that isn't supposed to. Like, you'll never, it's the beauty of it, you'll never find anything in your present experience that hasn't already been allowed in. I mean, it sounds crazy. I mean, to the mind it sounds crazy, because it goes against everything that we're taught. Because we're taught, get rid of the negative and move towards the positive. But actually who you are it doesn't need to move from one place to another. It's already holding all of this. It holds the birds singing, and it holds, you know, sensations in the body, and it holds any thoughts that are coming up now. Like it's just this constant embrace. You know, that's what you are. But that's the embrace that everyone's looking for.
Mm-hmm. So then, good or bad, things shows up in our life. I mean, things.
I'm about to fall off the log.
Stay. Good or bad, things show up in our life. I just read that you're number 51 on Watkins' most influential spiritual people in the world. You're surprised about that, yet something that you have done has allowed this.
I can't take it too seriously. I don't. It's the funny thing. I don't really identify myself as being a spiritual teacher. That's the thing. I've never really had that identity. You know, I kind of just seem. I'm just
doing your thing.
Doing my thing. Yeah, yeah. Well, that's it. I just do my thing.
Yeah.
And I talk to whoever I talk to, and people call me a teacher, or they call me. I don't know. You know, it's.
But life has brought that, which is some recognition to some eyes of some people, and some validation, and this further your exposure to, and you know, we're meeting, and you're doing interviews, and you're invited at conferences. I'm asking those questions because I would love to know how you see if we have to invite life to come to us, or if it's just that we're living everything perfectly as it is when we're supposed to live it, and then things come in like that, or how do you think things manifest in life? You know, what is your sense of manifestation?
Oh man, it's a total mystery, really. I mean, this is the last thing I ever expected to be doing with my life. I mean, I was so painfully shy. I mean, a few years ago, I'd never spoken in public before. You know, now I'm going around the world and speaking to 50, 100, however many people at conferences, and it's really it's really a mystery. I mean, I just gave up. I gave up trying to work it all out. You know. I mean, that's the problem. Like years ago, I had worked everything out. I think that's why I was so miserable. I think that's why I was so unhappy, because I knew everything. Yeah. I knew about everything. I was certain about everything. I knew who I was. And I don't know anything. I just don't know anything anymore. Really. I mean, I could make up some I can make up some clever story, but it's
So you're unconditional with life, and life shows up.
I guess so,
you don't have conditions. I feel like when we have conditions and goals and even intentions, it's great to have intentions, but goals are really fixed ideas on how things should turn out. Then we block the flow of life.
I think these days life has become so much simpler. In a way, I just follow what moves me. You know, I just follow. And I don't even. You know, I find myself saying yes to things. I don't even know why. I find myself saying no to things, but I'm not thinking about it so much anymore. It's just like wherever I feel moved, you know, it's really love. I think I do what I love. You know, because in a way I'm no longer trying to, the goals. I'm no longer trying to become a success, or become enlightened, or become popular, or become all that seems to be so irrelevant. It's just it's just
it just is.
It is, yeah.
Yeah. It is. We are. I mean, we're doing. I mean, It's the same thing that Juicy Tour is unfolding. I have no idea all this is coming into manifestation. I'm just showing up. We're just showing up.
That's it. That's the mystery, though. You show up, and it moves, it evolves, it goes in places you never imagined. But you just get the sense that you're not in control of this. And I think so much of our suffering comes from trying to control my life. Yeah. I must make my life go the way I want it to. It's all about my life. Yeah. And actually, you get so lost in this bubble of my life that you end up missing you end up missing life. You know, it's about life, really. It's about, and just the mystery and the wonder of this, and somehow, I mean, that's the beauty of it. It is as it is.
Why change it?
Yeah, and but then the thing is, it moves, it goes on. And
Yeah.
that was the question that always drove me crazy. It's like, if it just is, then how does anything happen? But I realized maybe even that question wasn't necessary. Maybe even that is just because then the mind wants to work that one out. It is, and it goes on. It doesn't just stay static. It's
Yeah.
not. It's not.
Yeah, and emotion seems to be transmuted very fast. I'm really surprised how emotions can go through our body in seconds. Sadness, and we don't need to. It doesn't need to be a long suffering. I think the emotion in itself. Those studies are 7 seconds long originally, but we just decide to suffer and to suffer and to hold on to it like if it was ours. But sometimes it just
Yeah.
needs. We're vessels, aren't we?
We're just the capacity for life. You're just the space in which all of life is allowed to move. All human emotion, feeling, thought, any thought that anyone has ever had is available here. Any thought that any human, it's all human consciousness. It's not. I think that's where we move into the illusion. Out of the whole range of possible human thoughts, we cut off a small chunk of them and say, these are my thoughts. Out of the whole incredible range of human emotion, any feeling that anyone has ever felt is available to this consciousness. But what we end up doing is say, no, these are my feelings. These feelings are mine, and the rest I would never feel. I would never feel that, or I would never think that. And
How is that
how
possible?
is that possible? I mean, that's how people. That's really how we live. That's how people live. Is that this is me. I know who I am. I would never. I would never do that. I would never feel that. I would never think that. But we're really limiting ourselves so much. I mean, it's what you are, as you said. We're just we're a vessel. We're the capacity for all of human consciousness. Like all of humanity flows through you. So really, when sadness appears, the secret is it's not really your sadness. That's where the suffering begins. We forget it's human sadness. It's part of human consciousness. It's ancient. Everything's ancient. From the perspective of consciousness, everything is ancient. It's all everything. It's beloved child.
But how about if we lose somebody that we love and we have sadness, and then it's our.
That's the thing. I mean, it's a paradox, really. I think like ultimately, in the beginning, thoughts, they're not my thoughts. They're just thoughts. They're part of consciousness. Sadness it's not really my sadness. It's part of consciousness. It just wants to flow through you. That's all it wants to do. It just wants to move. It just wants to express itself. So
we can call in joy and love.
yeah. But that's the thing. If I get a phone call tonight that my father has died, I mean, I don't know what will happen, but maybe sadness will appear. Maybe a big intense wave of sadness, but it's not a problem. It's a movement of love. It's just love moving. Love isn't the opposite of anything. It's love for me. Love is just another word for this movement of life, and it allows sadness, it allows fear, it allows bliss, it allows everything. But that's the paradox. It's somehow when I'm grieving for my father, I can get so lost in the bubble of my sadness. I'm grieving for my father, and there is a truth in that. We don't want to deny that. But on a deeper level, you take away when it's just sadness. In a way, now you're no longer grieving over your father. In a way, you become anyone who has ever lost a father.
Yes.
Because it's the same sadness. It's just human sadness. That's where compassion really begins. And in a way, I think when we lose touch with that impersonal nature of life, we can get so lost in our own little bubble of me and my grief.
And then we isolate ourselves further.
Yeah, and I'm not saying there's anything, we don't want to make that wrong either, but maybe it's all just an invitation to on a deeper level recognize that maybe it's not really my sadness. It's sadness coming through. I am anyone who has ever lost anyone. And that's where you're totally reconnected with this incredible, heartbreaking compassion for all of humanity. You know, it's so that the
This
most
oneness.
exactly. So it's like the most intimate, personal experience, or even tragedy in your life, like losing a father or losing a loved one. And when you know, maybe on a deeper level, it's just a call to this incredible compassion for all of humanity, because I'm not really losing my father. I'm anyone who's ever lost. I'm anyone who's ever lost anyone, and now I'm totally reconnected with all of humanity. And I don't feel lonely anymore. You know, we can feel so lonely and lost in our little my sadness, my anger, my fear.
So then there's even gratitude that could come in.
Exactly, exactly. That's where like the worst tragedy in your life could be the. You know, that's where you might be able to find such incredible gratitude that it breaks your heart. Like it's that's I think that's the invitation of life is gratitude, is just to come back to, because what's left really? I mean, what's left but just gratitude for this moment? You know, however much pain there is, but the things, gratitude includes all of that. It's not I'm grateful because there's no pain.
No.
It's not I'm grateful because there's. It's like gratitude for all of it.
Yeah, gratitude for a deep connection and a deep understanding too, to life, to death, to consciousness, to feeling this oneness in that moment, sharing this deep feeling of life and knowing that we're not separated. I mean, I think that's something huge to be grateful for, and creates just this big vastness, huh?
I think really that's what we've lost as a species, is that basic sense of gratitude for this moment, you know, for the fact that we're here, just the basic fact that we're here.
And it's not raining.
And it's not raining. It's going to start raining now, isn't it? And just, you know, just the sense of, we can get so lost in our search for something in the future for me. And again, I don't want to make that wrong. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, maybe that's part of the game as well, but so easily we get lost in that search for something in the future, and we end up just losing our grounding, like our ground, which is the ground. I mean, literally the ground we stand on. You know, this is because we forget what a miracle this is. I mean, the mind says, "Oh, I know what this is," and really, do we really know what any of this is? I mean,
we have the arrogance to know.
It's. I mean, that's the thing. As children, we didn't know.
Yeah.
But it didn't matter. Like
But we were the explorer.
Yeah. I mean, as children, we didn't know yet what all this was. We didn't have the names. And we existed in wonder, you know, and we were explorers, and we were fascinated, you know. And then as adults, we know so much. We think we know so much. But you know what's? I was just thinking, because my father has been diagnosed with Alzheimer's. Actually, he's had it for a few years now, and it's actually there's something very beautiful about it, you know. Although of course it's sad, you know, but somehow right at the heart of it, there's something very beautiful about it. That kind of fascination is returning. I mean, he's always someone, he knew everything. Like throughout his life, he knew everything. And now as that knowledge is starting to fall away, you know, and it's beautiful in a way. Like he's become my child in a way, like my son. You know, he starts to ask me, Jeff, what's that? No, like literally like a child. What's that? What's that? You know, and if you just meet him there, that's the thing. If you just meet him in that wonder, and then there's no problem. It's very strange. If I go into the story, oh, I'm losing my father, then that would be suffering. I mean, for me and for him. But I really just have this sense there's something that cannot be lost. You know, whoever he really is can't be lost. Like disease can't take it away. Alzheimer's can't take it away. Pain, nothing can take it away. You know.
You get to experience his fullness too, as you say. He's probably in a place of beingness more than ever of his life, and you get to experience.
I don't want to romanticize it, of
Yeah.
course, because Alzheimer's it can be quite messy as well. But yeah, I mean, right, there is something happening there. There's like this loss of the false, this loss of his ideas, his stories, his memories. When the question is, what is that who we really are anyway? Is our story of ourselves? So there's something quite beautiful about watching all the everything that is false in him kind of dying, and then what's really true can't die. What I think it was the Course in Miracles says that which is, I have no idea what the Course in Miracles says. It's gone.
It's gone. The Course in Miracles.
That which is real. That which is real cannot be threatened, and that which is unreal doesn't exist. Yeah. So it's just so beautiful just to meet someone just in that place of wonder. I don't even know what that is actually. When he asked me, Jeff, what's that? If I just stop pretending for a moment that I know anything, actually I don't know. A tree. Do I know what a tree is? So there's something quite beautiful about that question. What's that? And just to sit in that place of wonder.
And feeling it.
And feeling it. And feeling it, yeah.
Wonderful. Well, this felt really good to be speaking with you today and to have this juicy conversation. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you for being you.
Thank you for being you. It's been very juicy. Sitting with myself on a log in a Dutch forest.
Yeah. Big forest. Thank you, my beautiful co-creators, for watching, for sharing, for supporting the tour, for spreading all those little videos through Facebook, Twitter. It's going like all around Europe. Europe is waking up big time. It's happening. We're shaking it up. Much, much love from Holland. Bye, Jeff.
Bye. Bye-bye.